What's up, story lovers? Welcome to Stories by Stoner. If you're ready for a wild ride, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. 14-year-old Amara had learned to move quietly through life. Ever since she lost her mother at age 7, silence had become her shield. She and her older sister, Aurora, survived by doing whatever jobs they could find. Cleaning houses, washing clothes, sweeping offices before sunrise. When Aurora got a job as a cleaner at Eden Tech Towers, the tallest corporate building in the city, she sometimes brought Amara to help her finish work faster. That morning, Aurora was sick. Feverish, coughing, barely able to stand. "Amara, you'll have to finish my section," she whispered. "I can't lose this job." Amara nodded. She carried the mop bucket up to the top floor, the executive wing. She had never been there before. Marble floors, glass walls, gold-trimmed doors. Everything looked like it cost more than all the places she had ever lived. She pushed open the largest door, the CEO's office. It was a world of its own. Bookshelves stretching to the ceiling, a wall-sized glass window overlooking the entire city, and a desk so polished she could see her reflection in it. Amara placed her plastic bucket gently on the floor and began mopping. She didn't know the CEO had arrived early. At exactly 6:12 a.m., Mr. Adrian Cole, billionaire founder of Eden Tech, stepped into his office, talking on his phone. He stopped mid-sentence. His eyes widened. In front of his desk, barefoot, wearing an oversized faded t-shirt and a skirt with tiny patches, was a small girl scrubbing the floor with her hands. Who are you?" Adrian asked, lowering his phone. Amara froze. Her heart thumped in her ears. "I'm sorry, sir," she whispered. "My sister is sick today. I didn't want her to lose the job. Please don't be angry." Adrian wasn't angry, he was confused. And then something deeper. A feeling he hadn't felt in years. "Where is your sister?" he asked. "At home. We sleep in the old market stalls by the junction," she said quietly. "We don't really have a house." Her voice broke. Adrian felt something hit him inside his chest. Hard. A child. Homeless. Cleaning his office. At dawn. "What about your parents?" he asked gently. "My mother died when I was 7, she murmured. "My father. I don't know him." Adrian swallowed. For a moment, the billionaire forgot the meeting he was rushing to, the calls waiting, the empire he built. All he saw was a child who had already lived through more suffering than anyone should. "Amara," he said softly, "come with me. We need to talk." Amara looked up slowly, unsure whether she was being rescued or fired. "Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from." Adrian led Amara to a small conference room beside his office. It was the kind of room used for private board discussions, decorated with white orchids and soft leather seats. Amara stood by the door, afraid to sit. "You're not in trouble," Adrian said gently. "Please sit." She sat on the edge of the chair, hands folded tightly in her lap. Adrian poured her a glass of water and pushed it toward her, but Amara only stared at it. She was used to drinking from plastic sachets, not glasses that looked like they belonged in a museum. "What's your sister's name?" he asked. "Aurora," she replied. "She's 19. And she cleans this building?" "Yes, sir. I help her sometimes. She doesn't like me coming, but if we don't finish early, they cut her pay." Adrian frowned. He made a mental note to call the cleaning company immediately. "What about school?" he asked softly. Amara looked down at her feet. "I stopped in primary 6. We couldn't pay the fees anymore." Adrian leaned back, his chest tightening. At 14, the girl cleaning his office should have been in a classroom, not working before dawn. "What do you want for your life, Amara?" She hesitated, choosing her words carefully, as if afraid to want too much. "I want to learn. I want to go back to school. I want a place where my sister can rest. She works too hard. Sometimes she faints." Her voice broke again. Adrian looked at her and wondered how many children like her existed in the shadows of his shining empire, unseen, unheard, surviving on hope. His phone buzzed. It was his personal assistant reminding him of the board meeting. He ignored it. "Amara," he said, "I want to meet your sister. Can you take me to her?" Amara's eyes widened. "Now." "Yes. Now." She stood slowly, unsure if billionaires usually left their skyscraper offices to visit sick homeless girls in market stalls. As they exited the corridor, the other staff stared, not at Amara, but at their CEO walking beside a barefoot child. People whispered, but Adrian didn't care. They rode down the elevator together. Amara had never been inside an elevator before. As it moved, she gasped and held the rail tightly. Adrian pretended not to notice to save her from embarrassment. Outside, his black SUV was already waiting. "Get in," he told her. Amara hesitated. She wiped her hands on her old skirt, afraid to dirty the leather seats. "It's okay," Adrian said quietly. "You're my guest." Those words hit her harder than she expected. Guest. She had never been anyone's guest before. As the car pulled away from Eden Tech Towers, Amara stared out the window, wondering what would happen when they reached her sister. And why a billionaire cared this much. The drive from Eden Tech Towers to the old market took only 15 minutes, but to Amara it felt like an hour. She kept her eyes on her hands, twisting her fingers nervously. She had never ridden in a car this expensive, and she definitely never imagined a billionaire would be sitting beside her. Adrian watched her quietly. Every small movement she made, her hesitation, the way she kept her feet tucked close, the way she avoided leaning back, told him one thing. This child was used to shrinking herself. The SUV rolled to a stop at the edge of the abandoned marketplace. The once busy stalls were now cracked wooden frames, serving as makeshift homes for people who had nowhere else to go. "This is where you live?" Adrian asked softly. "Yes, sir," Amara replied. "Over there." She pointed toward a corner stall covered with a torn tarpaulin and patched cardboard. Adrian's chest tightened. No human being, much less a child, should have to sleep there. Amara jumped out quickly and ran ahead. "Sister. Sister, are you awake?" Adora's weak voice came from inside. "Amara, is that you?" When Adrian stepped closer, Adora struggled to sit up. Her eyes widened when she realized a stranger, an important-looking stranger, was following her sister. "Good morning," she said breathlessly, trying to stand out of respect. She almost collapsed. Adrian rushed forward. "Please, don't get up. You're sick." Adora looked confused. "Sir, who are you? Did Amara do something wrong? Please don't punish her. She only wanted to help me finish my work." "No one is being punished," Adrian said firmly. He looked around the stall. A thin mattress on the floor. A rusted pot. 2 plastic plates. Nothing more. Adora coughed into her hand, trying to hide how weak she was. "I'll be fine, sir. I just need rest. I'll return to work tomorrow." "You won't," Adrian replied gently. "You're not well." Adora panicked. "Sir, please, please don't fire me. We'll have nothing if I lose that job. Please." Adrian shook his head. "I'm not firing you." She blinked, confused. "I didn't come here as your employer," he continued. "I came because your sister's story moved me. No child should be cleaning offices at dawn. No sister should be working herself to death just to survive." Adora's eyes filled with tears she tried to hide. Why would a man like you care about us?" she whispered. Adrian hesitated before answering. "Because once, a long time ago, I was closer to your life than you can imagine." The sisters exchanged a stunned look. Amara took a small step closer to him. "Sir, what will happen to us now?" Adrian looked at both of them with quiet determination. "First," he said, "we are going to get you out of here." And in that moment, their lives began to change. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. Adrian stepped outside the stall for a moment and made a quick phone call. His voice was low but firm. Get a medical team to the Old Market area. Now. And prepare a temporary residence at the Eden Tech guest apartments. I'll explain later. When he returned, Adaora and Amara were sitting close together. Adaora looked embarrassed, as if ashamed for him to see how they lived. You don't have to help us, sir, Adaora said quietly. There are many people suffering. We are used to this life. That's the problem, Adrian replied. You shouldn't be used to it. A black medical van soon arrived. The neighbors peeked from behind broken stalls, whispering as uniformed workers approached. Adaora tried to refuse help, but Adrian insisted. You need treatment, he said. You're running a high fever. They supported her gently and checked her vitals. Amara hovered nervously around her sister. When they were ready to go, Adaora gripped Adrian's hand. Sir, please don't take my sister away from me. Adrian knelt to her level, his voice warm and steady. I have no intention of separating you. Everything I do will be for both of you. Adaora finally nodded, tears slipping down her face. They arrived at the Eden Tech guest residence, a furnished apartment used for international partners. Marble floors, clean white walls, a proper bed, everything sparkled. Amara stood frozen at the entrance. Is this where we will stay? For now, Adrian said. Until your sister recovers. The sisters looked overwhelmed. Adaora kept thanking him between coughs, but Adrian gently waved it off. A nurse settled Adaora into the bedroom, giving her medication and setting up a drip. She fell asleep within minutes. Amara stepped into the living room, staring around as if afraid to touch anything. Sir, she whispered, why are you helping us? We are strangers. Adrian took a slow breath. When I was a boy, my mother died too. My father wasn't around. I slept in unfinished buildings, under bridges, anywhere. A stranger found me, gave me food, gave me a chance. If that man didn't help me, I would not be standing here today. Amara's eyes softened. So now, he continued, when I see what I once was, I don't walk away. Silence filled the room. Deep, emotional, heavy. Will you send me back to school? She asked softly, almost afraid of the answer. Adrian smiled for the first time. Yes, Amara. You're going back to school. Her breath caught in her throat. She pressed her hands against her face, trying not to burst into tears. Thank you, sir, she whispered. Thank you. But Adrian wasn't done. There's more, he said. Amara looked up, wide-eyed. Tomorrow, Adrian continued, I want you to meet someone very important. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. The next morning, sunlight spilled gently through the apartment windows. For the first time in years, Amara woke up on a soft mattress. She stretched slowly, hardly believing the night before was real. Adaora was still asleep but breathing better. The fever had dropped. A soft knock sounded. Amara. Adrian's voice came through the door. She opened it cautiously. Adrian stood there in casual clothes, holding 2 breakfast trays. I wasn't sure what you liked, so I ordered everything, he said with a light smile. The trays were filled with eggs, bread, fruit, tea, and even small pastries. Amara stared at the food as if it might disappear. Eat, he said gently. You need strength. When she finished, Adrian motioned for her to follow him. We're meeting someone, he reminded her. They took the elevator to the 10th floor, the administrative section of Eden Tech's foundation. Amara clutched her hands nervously as they walked through a hallway lined with photographs of children receiving scholarships, families receiving food supplies, and schools being built. At the end of the hall, a woman with glasses and a warm smile stood waiting. Amara, Adrian said, this is Mrs. Thompson. She runs my education foundation. Mrs. Thompson knelt slightly so she could look Amara directly in the eyes. I've heard a lot about you. Adrian says you're brave, hardworking, and sharp. I would be honored to help you go back to school. Amara's heart raced. You mean, like, real school? With uniform. And books. With everything, Mrs. Thompson confirmed. And not just school, mentorship, supplies, transportation, medical care. Whatever you need. Amara covered her mouth as tears rolled down her cheeks. I don't know how to thank you, she whispered. Mrs. Thompson touched her shoulder gently. Just study hard. That's enough. Adrian watched quietly, feeling something warm settle in his chest. This, changing lives, felt more meaningful than any business deal he ever closed. When they returned to the apartment, Adorora was awake and sitting up. She looked stronger already. Amara, where did you go? She asked softly. Before Amara could respond, Adrian stepped in. Adorora, your sister has been accepted into my foundation's scholarship program. She will return to school immediately. Adorora gasped, covering her mouth. Tears rushed down her cheeks. Sir, I don't have words. I don't. Adrian raised his hand gently. You don't need words. Just rest. When you're healthy again, we'll discuss work, but the kind of work that doesn't break your body. Adorora nodded repeatedly, unable to stop crying. Amara rushed to her side, hugging her tightly. For the first time in years, hope filled the small room like fresh air. Adrian stepped back, watching the two sisters cling to each other. In that moment, he knew he had done the right thing. Their story wasn't over. But for the first time, it had a beginning filled with possibility. Thank you for watching Stories by Stoner. If you loved this story, don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring tales.